Kelsey Grant, welcome to Deep and Ridiculous.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
You've built a career helping people fall in love with themselves, but lately you've been deep in a Michael Jackson rabbit hole.
Yes.
What has studying one of the most creative people who ever lived taught you about self-love?
Oh, wow. It's not where I thought you were going to take us right off the bat, but I think one of the things that I have really sat with over the last few months, diving into his work and into his mastery, is the level of devotion that he brings to his craft. And what I've realized is when someone truly loves themselves, they always come back to their art. And they come back to their art because they're finally living in their heart. They're finally occupying their whole self. And when your whole self is online, the natural expression is to create, whether that's art, whether that's a business, whether that's a family, like you're just in that creative pocket. So I think the more that we are in that place of creativity, the more that we have access to love ourselves. And the more we love ourselves, the more we have access to our creativity. So he's been such an incredible inspiration in terms of staying on that path of devotion to my own heart and my own embodiment, while also committing deeply to my art, my expression, and my creativity in the world.
What does it mean to live in your heart?
I think it really means to not have any of that energetic interference that we all get from life and living in our family systems, living in this world. Like, we accumulate pain, we accumulate wounding, and that creates these barriers around the heart. And so the process of my work has always been, let's just get in there and dissolve and alchemize the material that's blocking your access to feeling fully. Because to me, living in the heart is just your ability to be in your full range. So your full self-expression, your full range of feeling. You're not afraid of the sadness or the anger or the upset. You're also not afraid of the delight and the awe and the wonder. And you can kind of jump between these two worlds and respond to life as it's happening instead of being reactive, which is what happens when we have all of this material around our heart that is not metabolized. So I think living in the heart is really the ability to just feel yourself fully, feel your emotions, feel the sensations in your body, feel the aliveness that comes through you when you're not trying to keep it all clamped down. You're like, okay, I need to be a good human and I need to do things right and perfect. And you literally spend your entire life like clenched, like your butthole is like, and you just cannot like move through life in an open capacity. So I think the more we are able to relax the body, relax the asshole, and feel our feelings fully, then all of a sudden we just start to feel different, and you can feel more love moving through your system. You can just feel yourself, and everyone's going to have a different expression of that. Everyone's going to have a different experience of that. But I don't know that you can live in your heart if you're also walling your heart off and keeping yourself protected. And a lot of the mechanisms that human beings use are just protective mechanisms around the heart.
You've said that creativity comes from the heart. So how does that actually work in terms of expressing yourself creatively? Like, why is it important to feel these emotions and be in your heart to actually be creative?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do, like, you can create without being in your heart. Like, I do want to say that. You just may not create something that in 50 years from now, you're like, damn, I'm so proud of that. Like, I have been creating my whole life, and I've gone through seasons where I was definitely walled off. And those songs that I wrote from that place just were shitty.
Yeah.
They're performative, or they lack depth, or they lack any real significance or meaning, because I'm more focused and fixated on the image that I'm putting forward versus the transmission of magic, the transmission of healing, the transmission of love. So when I'm in my heart and when I'm feeling fully, then I know that I'm actually creating the most authentic piece of art that's meant to come through in that moment. And I think Michael Jackson talked about this a lot, like him being a channel for God to work through him.
Mm-hmm.
And he always gave, the kudos to the creator for bringing these ideas to him, and then he's the channel. So when you clear your heart of that debris, you become the channel, and you actually start to create things that not only live on through space and time, but as we see with his music, like it becomes this healing frequency
Mm.
that people who, were born decades after he died are still able to feel the healing transmission of that. They're activated by it, they're inspired by it, they're creating from that frequency as well. So I think for me, the reason why it's so important to do that alchemical work around the heart is so that you actually create things that are true. You create things that come from a place of deep resonance with the creator, deep resonance with truth, with love, with these frequencies that really move humanity forward in a way that I would like to see humanity move forward. Like, people create destructive shit all the time. And I know, like, when someone creates something that has like a ugh kind of energy to it, I'm like, oh, they're just not in their heart.
Mm.
Like, they're probably creating from their head. They're probably creating from their pain. Like, you can create from all of these places too. And I like to steer clear of that, because when you create from your pain, you're off-gassing it and essentially injecting it into whoever is consuming it. And I just don't want to be responsible for that type of impact in the world. I would rather transmit and inject energy that helps people open and expand and connect to their own heart and their own channel and do what they're here to do on this planet, because all of us have a different mission.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in the frequency of love and the frequency of truth and in your body, that's when you can really tune your channel and you're like, oh, this is what I'm here to do. This is the piece that I'm meant to weave into the fabric of humanity, instead of, trying to do someone else's role and then getting burnt out or resentful or quitting and
Mm-hmm.
just shutting off the channel altogether.
Mm-hmm. So there's probably plenty of artists out there, plenty of creatives, musicians, painters, everything like that, that are making good money,
Mm-hmm.
but are probably not living from their heart.
Right.
So I'm so curious to know how that actually works, because some people get so much hype around them, and people love them, but for people like you and I that are a little bit more tuned into kind of like energy, and you can kind of pick up on where something was created from.
Yeah.
But like, why do these people succeed, and then the people that are more in tune with their heart, they oftentimes don't?
Right.
Because this happens in the personal development industry.
Oh, yeah.
As you know, there's plenty of coaches out there that are just good marketers and good salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm just so curious to know, like, how come those people can pop off and make millions, but then the people like you and I, where we pour our heart and soul into it, sometimes don't?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the level of depth. So you have the majority of the population operating at a pretty surface level. So a surface level consciousness is a consciousness that cares about image, that cares about status. It doesn't really care about depth, meaning, significance, because depth, meaning, and significance means you have to go through the gates of the heart. You have to go through that alchemical process of facing yourself. And a lot of people on this planet do not want to face themselves. They do not want to feel what's in there to feel. They've built up all of this armor, and they're terrified of going on that journey, which, listen, I'm never going to judge someone for that because it is a gnarly journey. Like, dark nights of the soul are not chill, like afternoons at the park. You know, like, you're going through portals of metaphorical hell.
Yeah, you aren't packing like a picnic and a 6-pack and a cooler
No.
and just heading down to Kitsilano Beach and then just
smoke
like
a dart.
smoke a dart and then just like, yeah, I just had this huge dark night of the soul awakening while sitting on the beach,
Right.
smoking a ciggy and
Right.
drinking a 6-pack.
Right, exactly. Like, it takes something to go on that journey. And, you know, a lot of people on this planet will never go on that journey. So there needs to be material for them too. Like, everyone is on their own journey, on their own path. And so what often happens is when you see people who pop off and they're not in their heart, chances are they are playing in that surface level pool where they're creating for that demographic. And, you know, people are going to throw their money, their time, their energy at something that doesn't really make them feel or confront them deeply, versus a creator who is in their heart, who's walked that journey, is going in like right from the jump from a much deeper place. And that alone is very, very threatening to someone who doesn't want their waters ruffled. And like, because once you start moving those waters, sometimes you can't stop it. Right? So people want, you know, the surface level pop music that doesn't make them have to think or feel about anything significant. They're like, this just feels good. Everything is awesome.
Taylor Swift.
Well,
that's the first thing.
Even Taylor Swift, even though she's like little pop girly, like she's also a poet, and like she codes so much into her music. And I really respect her as an artist for that, because she sends her entire audience on what she calls Easter egg hunts, where she like literally injects these little hints of what's coming next. And then her whole audience is like tracking, like, ooh, what does she mean by this? What does she mean by this? And so she's prepping them to go on a deeper journey. Even if she's not the one who's going to facilitate that deeper journey, she's at least bridging. So I see her more as a bridge artist, that she has the capacity to go deep. And she also understands, kind of like Michael Jackson, that if you want to reach the masses, you've got to go in on a level that kind of appeals to that energy, and then slowly introduce the mission.
Yeah.
Because he was also so good at this.
Yeah.
You know, he's right. He's the king of pop, right? And he's singing about racial injustice. He's singing about like poverty and social justice issues. And most people didn't even realize that that's what he was singing about. They're just like, sing along, doesn't matter if you're black or white, you know, like they're just like, this is an amazing pop song. And he's like coding into those words and into those songs. And then you see like decades later, people have an awakening because of it.
Yeah.
So you've got artists like that who are going to have a bigger mission, who are bridging, who appeal to the surface and also have that deeper like element to them. And then you have the people who literally don't give a fuck. And what they're putting out is energetic trash. And people gobble that up because there's going to be a demographic of people who never awaken on this planet. That is not what they're here for. They're not interested. And so there's got to be things for them too. And so you'll see, and there's a lot more of those people than the people who are going to awaken. And then you've got like a middle demographic that's still pretty big of people who are in that bridge zone, who might be kind of playing at the surface, but there is a calling in them to go a little deeper. And they will find people like Taylor Swift or Michael Jackson or any like big pop artist who has a deeper mission. You'll find them in those threads, and then their awakening kind of unfolds over time, space, maybe decades, but they will get there. They will have that moment of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life? Like, and then they go into the dark night of the soul, and then they see these songs through different eyes. That has different significance and meaning, and they can finally fully receive. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the codes of the song.
Bloody hell, don't go so spiritual.
I know. It's fine. We're on the Deep and Ridiculous podcast.
Yeah, exactly. People viewing, they're going to go on their own journey. They're going to go on their own awakening.
Yeah, they might even be high right now.
Yeah. If you're on mushrooms, let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, exactly. What strain are you on?
Yeah. Yeah, penis envy.
Golden teachers.
Yeah. It's funny because like I used to love some Michael Jackson songs before I got into him over the last few months.
Yeah.
And I used to really love If You Want to, like, what's that song? It's like, if you want to change the world, you got to look at yourself.
Man in the Mirror.
Man in the Mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something about that song that just like resonated with me when I was like 20.
Yeah.
And, I wasn't really into personal development back then. Well, shouldn't say I wasn't really. I wasn't.
Full stop.
Yeah, full stop. I wasn't. Full stop. But there was something about it that just like kind of like hit me.
Yeah.
And I've had songs like that throughout my whole life that kind of like hit something inside of me. And then I got into personal development and, been in that 10 years now. And then like falling in love with Michael Jackson after watching the biopic, that song like hits me even more, and I actually understand it, not intellectually, but more on a soul level.
Yeah.
And I think so many people probably resonate with that if they've been through that themselves, or they know of some people that you may like mention some things to them and they're kind of like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you thinking?
It's not that deep.
It's not that deep, bro. It's like, well, it fucking is.
It is. It really is.
I mean, some things aren't that deep, but
this is.
And I've had a couple experiences in my life where it's like people aren't ready to see the deeper stuff in life, or the, whatever's happening in the world, the energy, the way that they stop themselves through their limiting beliefs and their fears and, the stories they tell themselves from their upbringing. And then one day something clicks, or somebody else says the exact same thing, but in a different, like the sentence is formatted differently. And they're like, wow, that's powerful. And I'm like, yeah, I told you that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, and I understand it now. It's like their soul or their psyche just isn't ready to see it. So something inside of them just blocks it out until they're ready to see it.
Exactly.
And then, they're just like, wow, life is not what I thought it was. And then they realize, oh, actually I did hear something like this back in the day, like 2 years ago, 10 years ago. And, oh, that makes sense because I wasn't ready to see it then. I maybe didn't have the emotional maturity to for it to actually land inside of them and be like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think of all of that is like little seeds that get planted along the way. And there's going to be people who just, your spiritual contract with them is for them to come in and drop a seed, and then you never see them again.
Yeah.
You never hear from them again. And then 20 years later, that seed starts to sprout. And you're like, where did that come from? And then you start tracking it back. You're like, the first person who ever said this to me was this person. I never heard from him again. That's weird. But then it really starts to get magical because you're like, fuck. Everything is on purpose. Even the fucking shitty stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's usually through those experiences that we're kind of grinded and there's this friction. And in that friction, that's usually what creates the heat for the awakening. But without any contrast, Like, how would you ever have clarity? And also the contrast is going to essentially like light that fire within you. And it doesn't happen for everyone. There are people who can go through really horrible things and never awaken.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not really who we're talking to and talking about. We're talking about the people who go through shitty things and they're like, there's got to be something more. Like, there's got to be a reason why I went through everything I went through. And when you have that type of frame and mindset, you will start to unlock. You
Mm-hmm.
will start to open. And then you'll see, like, oh my gosh, there were like signs my entire life
Mm-hmm.
that this was my destiny. You know, a Michael Jackson song that I listened to when I was 5 years old all of a sudden becomes the manifesto for my life
Mm.
without even me realizing. You have these really cool synchronistic things that can happen, but like, it does take some time. Like, the system can't open before it's ready.
Mm.
Like, you cannot awaken until you awaken.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot force it. Like, it happens when it happens.
What is an awakening? Like, how would you describe to awaken? And also, you said that, their system's not ready.
Mm-hmm.
When is someone's system ready?
I think it's really individual. Like, there's no real math or science we can apply to that because every single human is on their own trajectory. So it really depends on the circumstances that you've had, what your soul wants to do,
Mm-hmm.
and then how willing your human is to get on board with what the soul wants to do. Because a lot of people who stay in that friction, their human is fighting the soul. The soul is like, I want you to learn these lessons. And then the human's like, fuck this shit. Why does this keep happening to me? I'm such a victim. Wah, wah, wah. And they don't get it. They never quite connect the dots of like, this isn't happening to you. I mean, it's happening to you, but it's also happening for you. And that can be a very offensive statement to someone who is like trapped in victim consciousness.
Yeah.
So I want to be mindful of that. But when you've removed yourself from victim consciousness and you're like, wait, I'm a creator. I create my reality. I'm a fractal of God. And if I'm a fractal of God, that would mean that the things that I've experienced, well, they can be very traumatic. They can be very painful. Like, sometimes I know that my system personally needed a lot of compression, a lot of intensity in order for it to awaken because my system is so big. It's so powerful. Like, it needs a lot of girl, like, come on, like, wake
Bit of
the
slapping
fuck
around.
up. And I'm like, no, not doing it. Like, I am so stubborn.
Yeah.
So stubborn. And that's not a bad thing. But it did mean that I took the long way around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a fuck around and find out kind of gal. I'm also going to learn the hard way a lot of the time. And that's part of my medicine, is to be able to walk the hard way around and then be like, hey guys, guess what? There's an easier path you can take, and it's this.
Mm-hmm.
And give that to people so that they don't have to take the hard way around if that is their soul mission. If their soul mission is like, I'm not here to do it the hard way, give me the easy pass. Then you meet someone like me and you work with someone like me who's like, okay, this is what the hard route is going to look like. You can take it. I'm going to be in approval of it either way. But if you would like a smoother path, may I suggest this?
You know what's funny about that though? I believe like nobody listens to that. I mean,
very few do.
And until they're actually ready because they've actually been through it.
Mm-hmm.
the hard stuff
Mhm.
first. You know, my dad told me some stuff when I was 16 and 18 or whatever. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Didn't implement it.
In one ear,
Yeah.
out the other.
Exactly. And, you know, I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't have learnt the actual, what's the word? I don't want to use the word medicine, but like the actual, lesson. Why was that so hard for my brain?
I was
'Cause I'm
literally sending
autistic.
it to you. I was like, it's lesson. He's going to get it. He's going to get it.
Fucking autism strikes back. Where was I?
You got the lesson, but
Yeah.
it took you the long way.
Yeah. So, like, do you actually get the lesson if you implement it without going through the experiences needed to actually get the full lesson? Like, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and I think for everyone, it is a bit different. Like, you clearly have a system like mine.
Yeah, I got to fuck around and find out.
You got to fuck around and find out. You've got a lot of stubbornness going on too. Like,
No, I'm not stubborn.
I'm super chill. And so like your system, it probably does need that compression, but not every system is like that. And I think humans get trapped in these ideas that how I experience the world is the template of how everyone experiences the world.
Yeah.
And that alone is a huge soul lesson to understand that just because I need to like go right to the bottom and I need to like really feel all threads of it, like I need to have the full blown experience. Not everyone needs to do that. And so
Makes sense.
So like there will be people like us who like take the long way around, go through every single layer of it. And then there are other people who just don't need to do that. But they will have other experiences in life that the things that are super easy to us are going to be challenging for them. You know, my ability to connect the dots is like second nature to me. Like I don't even think about it. But for someone like that, that potentially could be something that they'll never figure out. And they will need someone like me to help them figure out. And then someone like that who kind of gets through things and gets the lesson early, their energetic can help me move through things a little bit faster. So like everyone can, if we get out of this boat of like everyone is the same, and we start to see everyone as these cool individual fractals of God energy who have different missions and different messages and different medicine. And then we can start utilizing that. You know, Michael Jackson's song, like, you're just another part of me. Like, when I tap into someone like that who has a different energy system from me, different talents, different, magic, then me being in relationship with that activates that in me. And so I become a more whole version of myself by dancing with someone like that. And they become more whole by being introduced to my medicine and my depth. Even if that's not going to be their overall soul mission, like we can support and shape each other to become more full range by noticing like, okay, this is just how my system works. And it's really good to know that. And then I'm curious about this person's system and this one's because they're all going to be different. And if I open my mind and I open my heart, I'm able to receive the magic and the medicine that's available in every single connection that I have or every single person who crosses my path. Good, bad, evil, exceptional, like it doesn't matter. Like every single person is giving me access to myself. And I think that's a really important thing to reiterate because we like the concept of a mirror when it's good stuff that's being mirrored. No one likes to admit that, oh, that evil psychopath is also a mirror to some part of myself. Like, I might not express it the same way, but there are definitely, like, evil thoughts that I have had. Or there might be, like, this psychopathic energy of, like, trying to kill off certain parts of myself or kill off certain ideas within myself. So I'm not necessarily expressing it in the same way, but I can find the thread. And this is part of, like, my magic of being able to connect dots and, like, finding the threads without getting fucked up by it. Like, if a psychopath crossed my path, I'd be like, "Oh, that's interesting." I'd be like, "Where is that in me?
Oh.
Like, where is that, and how does that manifest in me?" Because it doesn't manifest like it's manifesting for them, but, like, it's in there somewhere.
Mhm.
'Cause I wouldn't be able to see it, I wouldn't be able to recognize it, I would not be able to clock it if I didn't have an internal reference point.
Mm.
And people get so fucked up by that because 'cause they're like, "I don't want to admit that I'm bad."
Mm.
Like, just admit it, you're bad. You know, Michael Jackson sang about that too.
I'm bad, I'm bad.
But you're also good,
Mm.
you know? And I think religion can do a lot of people so dirty because it codes in this idea of shame and that you are inherently bad and wrong if you do XYZ.
Mm.
And I'm not suggesting that you should go and murder people or rape them or, you know, be a horrible human being. I'm not suggesting that. But what I am saying is that when you kind of use that structure to control your behavior, what happens is you start to resist being able to see these parts of yourself because if I admit that there's a part of me that wants to kill off certain ideas in my own mind and I do not have approval for that, all of a sudden, as soon as I try and open that door, shame comes in and shuts it down. So then I actually have less tolerance in the world. I have less capacity to be with someone
Mm.
and be great with them,
Mm.
to love them. Because if they were to reflect something that a part of me cannot digest, then now we're going to go to battle.
Mhm.
Now we're going to duke it out. Instead of, okay, something is getting really rattled in me. I wonder what that is.
Mm.
I wonder where that lives in me. I wonder what needs to be either integrated or what just needs to be acknowledged. And then I can continue to be in relationship with the moment that is happening. And I can be responsive to the moment that is happening. And that does not mean that I sit there and take people's shit or take abuse. It means that I have the ability to be properly responsive in that moment, which might mean setting a boundary, removing myself. Like, but if you aren't fully in your body and you're not fully occupying all parts of yourself, that's where people get into trouble because that's what will have them stay in abusive situations.
Mhm.
That's what will have them be abusive
Mhm.
in some situations. So I think it's a really important thing to be able to access all these parts of ourselves and make the connections, but from a de-shamed lens.
Mm.
And when we kind of come in from this energetic of approval, we're like, okay, you're just another part of me. Interesting. Let's see what that is. Like, what's up for review right now? And when we're able to do that, all of a sudden, if you are an artist or a creative, your work gets a lot more interesting. It has a lot more depth. It has a lot more complexity to it
Mhm.
because you're able to go to those depths within yourself. And you're not like there's no part of you that you're afraid of.
I wanna ask you a question about that.
Yeah.
Like, you spoke about accessing all that stuff inside of you to become a better artist.
Yeah.
Why do you think that accessing your demons and your shame and, you know, basically just feeling the whole human experience,
Mhm.
why does that make a good artist?
Well, I think to me, I personally, because I like to go to the depths, like I'm never going to be satisfied with someone who operates at the surface. So if I feel into the energetics of an artist and I know that they haven't touched certain parts of themselves, this is going to sound terrible, but I don't take them seriously.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to allow myself to be influenced by someone who is not willing to face themselves. And so as an artist, I think art and activism kind of sit on a similar,
What's activism?
like essentially like standing for the change that you'd like to see in the world.
Okay.
And so a lot of artists are activists in disguise because they see possibility. They see change that can occur and they want to make the world a better place. They want to bring more beauty into the world through their medium. And anyone who gives a shit about humanity understands that we don't transform consciousness through shame, guilt, fear, repression. Like, that's not how it works. It happens through love. It happens through connection. It happens through approval. It happens through opening. And art opens people. So, as an artist, if you really want to land the mission of your art, you have to be in your full range.
Mm-hmm.
You can't not. But if you just are doing art because you want to be popular or you want to be rich, that's different. Because there are plenty of artists who fall into that category. But that's what I was talking about at the start of like these surface level kind of artists who they don't have a bigger mission with it. Like it's very self-oriented. It's very ego-oriented.
They got told they were good at painting when they were 5 years old, and then they created a story, I have to be a painter for the rest of my life.
Sure.
And they just do it
Yeah.
because they can see some monetary value.
Right.
And they have no bigger mission.
Right. Yeah. Their mission is make money, be popular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like to each their own, you do your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are an artist who feels deeply about the world, you look at the planet, you're like, we might be fucking shit up. We might want to make a change. Or like you can see how human beings interact with each other and you're like, I don't really love how much destruction there is or how much extraction is happening with natural resources or the way that we interact with each other. Like, I would like to see that transform. Then you use your medium to activate the heart. You use your medium to activate the mind. You use your medium to activate the body and the spirit.
Activate this in others.
Yeah, through your art.
Yeah.
And you cannot do that if your art has no depth. You cannot do that if you haven't gone to the depths yourself. So when you go to the depths yourself, you automatically start transmitting more clearly through your medium, whether it's writing, whether it's painting, dance, food. It doesn't matter what your medium is. The energetic transmission changes when you've met yourself. When you've gone to those depths and you have full range, what you create has a different energy signature to it. Michael Jackson went to those depths. His music is unparalleled. No one has been able to touch that frequency and replicate it ever. Now, I think that there are probably going to be some new little beings that come in, or even people in our generation who have awoken and done this deeper work who are able to seed that level of consciousness into their work. They may not have the same global scope that he had, but there are plenty of people who are coding that type of energy into the work that they do. And it's actually really inspiring to me because I'm starting to see some of those people really gain traction. And like when I look at someone's like art page and their creativity, like I can feel immediately what that person's about. I can feel immediately if they've met themselves. And if they haven't, it's just like personal development. I'm not going to listen to you. Like you have to be so meticulous with this. Like, your mind is such a wellspring of magic and creativity, and so is your heart. Why would you let anyone just inject what they want to inject in there? You've got to be really intentional with who you let in to your internal world and the ideas that you're letting in. And like, is this person really congruent? You're not going to be able to feel that unless you're congruent. You're not going to be able to discern whether someone is really in the pocket of they've gone to the depths unless you've gone to the depths.
I think that is probably the most key things. Like, when you go to the depths, you get better at discerning who has also done the same.
Exactly.
And, this can transfer over to, well, we're talking about creativity. And, if you're going to buy a bit of artwork, you're getting to know this person. You can tune into them and see where they're operating from, but also like into dating.
100%.
And, I don't want to make this all about dating, but, I've been single for over 10 years and, there's multiple reasons why, but more recent in the last, 2 years is because my discernment has just gotten like, it's my best weapon, and I can feel, I want someone deep.
Of course.
And ridiculous.
Of course. It would be weird not to.
Yeah. I know, you'd be like, what are you doing? If I got with someone that's like not deep and ridiculous, you would be like, what are you doing?
She's cut.
Yeah.
No.
Fuck her off.
Veto.
And like, I can, within 5 minutes to an hour, I know by just being around them, picking up on their energy, whether they've been to the depths of, their pain and their trauma, but then also like where they're at in it. Like, the whole point of Deep and Ridiculous is because we want to think about the deeper things in life, but we also want to laugh about the ridiculousness of those things and how caught up people can get in healings all the time and like how everything's serious. It's not.
No.
It's deep, but it's also doesn't have to be that fucking serious. And, I want somebody that has done healing work, but they're on the other side and they're starting, because it's a spiritual, it's the fucking journey. I see people going to spirituality and become minimalists. I don't need money to be happy, blah, 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 blah. And then they get rid of all their material objects, but then they come out the other side after a few years or maybe 20 years, and then they start integrating the spiritual world with reality.
Yeah.
That's why it's called spirituality, because it's spiritual and reality. And then they start to become like more materialistic again. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And, I want someone that's come out that side. And so we're on the same, as Jamie Ray would say, timeline. Had to throw that in there. We love you, Jamie.
Yeah, we love you.
And I want somebody that's like come out that side. We're on the same wavelength, similar paths. So we can actually like connect deeply and intimately. And, I can discern on somebody if they're at that part. And it's a weapon, like it's my superpower to discern that. And I know it transfers over into other areas of my life as well, like with friends and like business stuff. Such a weapon.
Oh, it's the best. And also, it's kind of annoying sometimes.
It's fucking really annoying.
You're like, fuck.
Yeah, I wish I just...
No, you don't wish that.
I wish I didn't know you so well within 5 seconds.
Right.
I wish I could pretend that you're a really good person.
I know. It's challenging. It's really challenging. And I think the challenging part for me is the romantic piece. Like, if someone hasn't gone to those depths, like, I can still have them in my life in some capacity if I enjoy other aspects of
Yeah,
who they are.
exactly.
But when I'm vetting for a romantic partner, those standards are very high. And there's got to be a compatibility in the level of depth that they've gone to. Otherwise, being with me is going to fuck them right up.
Mm-hmm.
And me being with them is going to fuck me up.
Mm-hmm.
Because nothing is worse than pairing up with someone where you aren't on the same trajectory. You're not moving at the same pace or like a similar pace. So one person is always having to like pull the other one or like wait for them, like tick tock, like, come on, I thought we were doing a 5-minute mile here.
Yeah.
And they're like stopping to like look at the trees and listen, there's nothing wrong with that, but you got to find people who move at a congruent pace in terms of their self-awareness. They could have a totally different pace for how they do their life, but their self-awareness, they've got to be able to go to those depths quite quickly and figure things out if it's going to work with someone like me romantically.
Yeah.
Like I have a lot more flexibility with friendships, with collaborations, like because those are less intimate connections. But if I'm going to build a life with someone, you better believe that we are going to be on the same level. And that does mean that it can take a little longer
Yeah.
to find people who are operating at that space, and in the same or similar way, because there can be people who are deep and they can go to those depths, but they don't know how to integrate what they find.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to integrate it, then you stay looping. And that's exhausting to me.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, we're still on that? Like, what? Okay. And like, what that does, especially on a creative level, is it drains my creative juices.
Right.
And if you have a relationship that is dramatic or traumatic, or you're just not on the same groove, your creative energy now has to go into managing that relationship.
Yeah.
Instead of creating your art, instead of creating your business, instead of creating what you want to see more of in the world. Your relationship is going to literally like suck your face off and drain your creative faculties. And this is how I know, like, if people are in the right relationship for them, not only do they become hotter, they become more vibrant, and their creativity is off the fucking charts. And then I know when someone is in a relationship that is not right for them, all the life drains out of them. They have like a dullness to their energy, and their creativity is dead. And for me, like that's always the barometer that I watch for when I'm vetting someone as well. What is their impact on my creative output? Because and I've had this before where my creative energy goes into like feeding his mission instead of staying in my own lane. And then, of course, that drains my energy. And then I've had connections where like the energy is just so chaotic that it drains my energy. And then I've had connections where my creativity is amplified. And I'm like, well, I'm going to stay in this connection for as long as that remains true. And for as long as we are a mutually beneficial and amplifying energy for each other's creativity, I know that it's a relationship that's on purpose.
Yeah.
I know that we are meant to be in that relationship. We are meant to have that connection, and we will have it until it's no longer true. We will have it until, something shifts or changes. But I'm always tracking the energy of my creativity because I've given that up in other relationships and the cost is way too high. And I'm at a stage of my life now where like that's the committed relationship that I'm always in. Me, God, my creativity.
Mm-hmm.
No one's coming in between that. So if someone comes in and is an amplifier to that, then of course I'm going to lean in.
Mm-hmm.
But the second things get squirrely or I'm noticing my attachment system is like going fucking haywire, I'm like, okay, these are all just indications of misalignment. And this is why you have to go through hell to learn yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to go through personal development to get the tools to be able to maneuver through these moments so you don't bottom out or you don't collapse or you don't get victimized by the fact that, oh, we're misaligned. Like, it's neutral.
Yeah.
Like, we're not aligned.
I wonder how many people get in misaligned relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You know the book The War of Art from Stephen Pressfield?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he talks about like that kind of energy, that power called resistance,
Mm-hmm.
which is stopping you from truly fulfilling your creative dreams or fulfilling your business dreams or, you know, sticking to a exercise regime to lose weight, et cetera, et cetera. And this resistance shows up in all different ways.
Sure.
Like alcoholism, drug addiction, porn addiction, like all these different things. And I wonder if people choosing a misaligned partner is one of those pieces of resistance
100%.
That's stopping them from being their fully creative self that they're meant to be.
Mm-hmm. I've been writing about this a lot lately on Threads because it's just been so up for me. I'm like, this is like the one way that human beings can trick themselves. And it doesn't seem like it's resistance. It doesn't seem like it's this like curveball that's happening because you're like, it's love, it's relationships. Like, how could it be throwing me off course?
Mm-hmm.
But if you choose someone who you aren't aligned with, it is like this sneaky way. So my business partner, she calls it like these sniper parts. So it's like a sniper that comes in to take you out. And that sniper comes in the form of choose that avoidant person. Choose that anxious person. You know, choose the one who doesn't really want you back.
Yeah.
And then you have to play these games of like proving your worth, proving your value, putting out fires, like managing nervous systems. Like we need to constantly be processing. Like all of that takes you out of your mission.
Mm-hmm.
It takes you out of your creativity. It takes you out of your ability to actually create your life.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind a mission or art on top of that. But it is one spot because human beings are wired for connection that they will kind of trick themselves, fog themselves out. Be like, I just want a partner. I just want a relationship. Meanwhile, they don't even have a relationship with themselves. Like, and I'm not suggesting that you cannot love someone if you don't love yourself, although I think it's easier to love someone when you love yourself because then you choose someone who can actually love you back.
Yeah.
But it really is one of these games that human beings play to burn off their creative energy because I think a lot of people are actually confronted by how big their life could be, how meaningful their life could be, how significant they are. And the best way to avoid all of that is by dumping into a relationship that is a dead end, that is never going to take you to the finish line. And women get really fucked up when I talk about this because...
Why is that?
Well, I feel like there is this resistance to like owning the fact that your intuition will always clock when someone isn't right for you. And it clocks it so early. And you have to face your shame if you have chosen to invest into a relationship like that ends up being a fucking dumpster fire.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of taking personal responsibility and saying, hey, I actually clocked that 3 weeks in. My intuition gave me that signal and I overrode it. I ignored it. I dismissed it. I pretended it wasn't there. And then this whole traumatic relationship happened.
Mm.
Because what happened, because the trauma and if there's any abuse, like that's where it gets messy. Because the brain is like, oh, so I'm to blame for that. I'm at fault for that, which is not actually what the conversation is. We're saying, no, you have responsibility in that.
Mm-hmm.
And you clearly had to go through that experience so that you can learn what your intuition sounds like, what your intuition feels like, and more importantly, what happens when you ignore it.
Yeah.
And those are very, very powerful, potent lessons. But in order to hold them, we have to face the shame
Mm-hmm.
that can come up when we sit with the truth of like, fuck, I knew.
Mm.
I fucking knew. And I still went for it. And if you can walk through that gauntlet, your power turns on in a way that I can't even begin to describe.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of women are actually terrified of their power.
Mm.
And I wonder if it has a lot to do with obviously like having generational imprints. Historically powerful women have been slaughtered and murdered and killed and raped. And so I think that terror lives somewhere in the DNA, and that it's part of the initiation is to move through that. But it also makes sense to me why so many women would not want to confront that, because if I'm a powerful woman, I now put a target on my back.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to do that. I need to stay safe. So I don't want to acknowledge that I might have had a part to play in the experiences that I have. And then it just throws so many women into this space of victim consciousness, which is so disempowering.
Mm.
But the only way out of victim consciousness is personal responsibility, of seeing like, I'm not responsible for their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was in an emotionally abusive relationship. I was not responsible for the choices that he made. But if I was really fucking honest with myself, I knew early on.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we first got together, my intuition started going off. And I was like, he's hot. He's got a big dick. Like, just stick it out. It's fine.
Stick it in, don't you mean?
Stick it in. It's not that bad. Like, I can deal with it. Like, and then you start self-gaslighting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not, like, what I'm picking up, that's just my insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was my intuition
Mm.
clocking that this person was not congruent, that this person still had demons that he hadn't worked out. But it was his demons that he hadn't worked out that then triggered my demons that hadn't been worked out so that I could work those out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't sit here demonizing him, because without him, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have the access that I have to not only my power, to my creativity, to my self-expression without that relationship. But in order to get out of any victim looping, I had to track all the way back. And we started seeing each other in July, and my first ping was in September.
Okay.
So like about 6 weeks into the dynamic, my intuition was like, hello.
Yeah.
Something is off here. And I'm like, shh, no, no.
6 weeks is when your attachment comes online too. So you're like, oh, no, I'm attached to this person now. Don't listen to that intuition.
Don't listen. He's hot. Like, you're having great sex.
Yeah.
Nah. And like, you can build this whole fantasy life with him.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't happen. Because like, he was obviously like where he was at in his integrity journey. And then I had all of this pain that I hadn't metabolized yet, that was interfering with my ability to connect. So I'm running very codependent connections at that point. And so my connections aren't clear. And I abandoned my art for him.
Mm.
He didn't like, it was like this weird competition where he'd like try and like one up me all the time and like sing louder than me. And I'm like, bro, just let me fucking sing.
Oh, I hate when people do that.
Yeah. And like didn't like that. I mean, I had a burlesque troupe and didn't like that. And like, but I'm like, but you're watching porn. It's not making sense.
No.
Right. So there was a lot of pieces of like my own self that needed to be reclaimed so that the next time I came across someone like that, I was like, oh, I fucking know.
Mm.
And I didn't have to play it out for 4 years. I didn't have to play it out past that initial moment when I got the hit that my intuition was like, no. And I just respected it. I was like, no, we are done. You know, we've hung out for a couple months and now I know what that signal is now.
Yeah.
And I trust it. And that's how, like, that's the power of walking through those dark nights of the soul and actually alchemizing things, because then you're able to track it in the future and trust yourself.
Yeah.
But up until those moments, you're just not trusting yourself. So you are going to get more and more initiations that are going to be that compression, that pain to teach you the value of trusting yourself.
Mm. They are the experiences that feel like shit at the time.
100%.
But once you learn, once you've been through them and you learn the lesson, you're like, oh, yeah.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. And I'm way better off for it now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Cool. Thank you, whoever made me go through that. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that.
Same.
Yeah. I know you've got a poetry class at 11.
I do. What time is it?
11:03.
Oh, all right. Well,
so you were just super locked in there.
I was.
Riffing. And there's so many other ways we can go in this conversation.
Part 2 and part 3 and part 4.
Exactly.
Regular occurring guests.
So, Kelsey, I really appreciate you. Appreciate your work that you do in the world.
Thank you.
Appreciate you as a friend. Where can people go to find more about you?
So Radical Self-Love and Midnight Musings of Love are both of my Instagram accounts. So Radical Self-Love is where I do my teaching, and right now I'm on clearly tangents about creativity.
You didn't even talk about your book.
I know, I didn't talk about my book. And then I've got my poetry page, which is where I write poetry, and I do have a book coming out this summer called Musings of Love. And it is letters, musings, and poems that are all centered around love and what I've learned about love and what it feels like when love arrives, when love is lost, and when love is found again. So there's a lot of teaching transmissions in there. There's musings that are coming through a more artistic lens that also bring in those lessons about love and loss and finding yourself and finding love again. So that will be available. I'll send you the link and you can pop it in the show notes when it's up and live.
Yes.
And but Instagram is a great place to find me. I'm very active on there. And all my links to all the other places are through my Instagram.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.